it all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win because we are the best on the field. And we hit the field like all day like, all night like, on the blue light, offense like, defense like, his squad like, house call like, and it sound like, and it sound like, and it sound like. Looks right, throws it too high. Oh, it was called on the back end. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He hauled it in. ECU, the miracle win in Lubbock today.
Goes for the end zone. The ball's in the air. It drops at the goal line. I think he caught it for a touchdown. He got it. He got it. He got it. Touchdown, Nick Matthews. The Cougars win it. The Cougars win it. He gets it. He's got room to the right. Tucks. Throws anyway. In the end zone it is. Caught. It's caught for a touchdown.
A good one. The set down. The kick is up. On the way. It is good.
He missed the catch. Do you believe this? With 1:11 to go, he missed the.
He is up, and the kick is no good. And the Cougars are going to win the football game.
Donnell Barnes over on the far side. He's going to keep it himself. Cut back inside. Slams for the touchdown. And the
forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Welcome everybody to the Short Sports Show. I am your host Daniel Short. Today is Friday, December 18, 2015, and no, I didn't watch the Star Wars movie. Nothing against it, just not my cup of tea. I was asked to go, but you know, I don't really like going to movies with a huge crowd. It's just I can't stand people eating or getting up and walking all around the movie theater. It's just not my thing. But good thing is you guys didn't come here to talk about Star Wars or any movies and stuff. We got a ton of news in college football and the NFL. Lots of things to discuss here, including Texas A&M situation, of course, as the main topic in college football. We also have with transfers, recruiting number one running back in 2016 as committed. We also have other commits today, big deals for that. And also in the NFL, Russell Wilson being labeled a second-tier quarterback, maybe taken out of place, but we'll talk about that along with some other news. But first, be sure to follow me on Twitter at short_sports247. And we also have the interview with the creator of Workhorses, Abram Booty. He will be on the show to discuss the movie and other great stuff about it. It's awesome if you guys have not seen it. The link will be in the description down below. And the song that you heard, the intro that you heard right there was by Triune and UNO Entertainment featuring EQ, which is Forever. You can buy their new single on iTunes right now, as well as Android, Play Store, all the other good stuff, Spotify. You can also buy Triune's album, Raised to Fail, Born to Succeed, as well as on iTunes and all the other good sources. So let us get on with it. I'm excited for this. It is a weird day in Texas. This past week it has been warm, and it is cold. It is freezing right now. First is Texas Tech wide receiver Devin Lauderdale has been suspended indefinitely. The school announced yesterday Lauderdale is Texas Tech's second leading receiver with 43 receptions, 639 receiving yards, and 4 touchdown catches. Apparently, he had failed to uphold the athletic department's student-athlete expectations, so he will not be in the bowl game versus LSU, and who knows into the rest of the 2016 where that goes. Also, Texas Tech revealed that defensive end Mike Mitchell will be transferring for a second time. If you guys remember a couple years ago, Mike Mitchell was an ESPN 300 prospect. He originally signed with Ohio State. He was first committed to TCU, then he decommitted, went to Ohio State, and then transferred to Texas Tech, and is now transferring once again. So who really knows where he's going? Also, defensive backs, sophomore defensive backs, Jalen Barnes and Derek Dixon will also be leaving the Red Raiders. No news on where they will plan on transferring, but big losses for Texas Tech. With already a weak defense, they're now losing 3 defensive players. The biggest news in college football that's happened this past week has to be Texas A&M freshman quarterback Kyler Murray has elected to transfer and will not play for the Aggies in the bowl game. The team confirmed Thursday. It is he has been released from the scholarship from A&M. He can transfer to any school as long as it's not an SEC team or on the Texas A&M schedule for the next 4 years. They just want to really make sure that in case he has a red shirt or whatever happens, that he is not going to be, because obviously his freshman year is already done. So he has 3 years of eligibility, but A&M wants to play it safe. Murray, who missed practice Wednesday for what the team called, quote, personal reasons, tweeted about his decision Thursday night, saying, thank you, everybody, for the support. For all the great friends that I met, I'm out. Basically, that's it. Last week, we talked about Kyle Allen, a 14-game starter, another top-ranked quarterback, now also leaving Texas A&M. He was the first to go, so you were thinking, all right, well, it is a loss, but, A&M, they have Kyler Murray. Obviously, the way the season played out, they really were wanting Kyler Murray to take that lead, and you're thinking for 2016, it's all Kyler Murray now. It's all on him. Then a week goes by, and now you're out of both. Both of them are now gone. Sources said that that there was uncertainty between the Texas A&M offense and the future of the offensive coaching staff, trust issues between the quarterbacks and the coaches, and how the quarterbacks were utilized among the team's concerns that led to both Murray and Allen's transfers. Now, rightfully so, the Aggies have had their worst offensive season statistically since Kevin Sumlin took over in 2012, ranking in the bottom half of all offensive categories. Last year, defense was terrible. Offense was pretty solid. It was up there. It was a Kevin Sumlin offense. It was doing what it had to do, but the defense was just garbage. You bring in Chavis from LSU. He does his job. Defense is there. It's great, solid defense. And then you have a terrible offense. It's just not working for A&M. Now, no decisions have been made regarding the future of offensive coordinator Jake Spavital, who was a primary caller for both Allen and Murray, and also, big recruiter for them, or any of the offensive coaches. Someone said Wednesday that he indicated that no decisions will be made until after the Aggies game against Louisville in the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl on December 30th. But you got to think, what is truly happening with A&M? What's happening inside? Because you don't just lose two premier recruited quarterbacks like that. There has to be some decision into something bigger that we're obviously not knowing. Murray played in 8 games this season. He started 3, completing 72 of 121 passes for 686 yards and 5 touchdowns and 5 picks, while adding 335 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Murray's transfer also, of course, affects their baseball team, which we're really hoping to keep Allen, because he was regarded as one of the baseball prospects who pulled out his name out of the MLB draft in May to play for A&M. So with that, where's Murray going to go? There's multiple things, ideas of what he could do. We already know Kyle Allen has already talked to Houston head coach Todd Herman and another offensive coach at Houston to discuss possible transfers. So not saying it's a favorite, but pretty good shot. Greg Ward, he's a junior this year. He'll be a senior next year. So Kyle Allen comes in next year. He redshirts that year, and he's forced to sit out anyways. Sits out that year, and then you have Kyle Allen for 2 more years at Houston, starting 2018-2019. Pretty good shot. Now, whether Todd Herman stays for another 3 years, who knows? He obviously signed a 5-year contract, but we've seen coaches come and go very quickly with bigger deals. So the question is with Kyler Murray is, will he be released from his national letter of intent? If not, he loses a year of eligibility. Now, this is how it goes. The national letter of intent rule states that if a player is not released from his NLI and transfers before completing an academic year, which is 2 semesters or 3 quarters, the player loses a year, meaning Murray, after sitting out a season next year, if he transfers to an FBS school, he would have only 2 years to play, not 3. Could be a huge decision for Murray and what happens. Now, again, back to Murray is where he will go. There's options where he could just go to some school, play baseball, and just get ready to get drafted and go from there, forget football, which would be kind of crazy given what he did in high school and being one of the best players in Texas high school football history. But there's also a little bit of rumors that, if you remember in his recruiting, pretty sold on A&M, but at the last minute, he took a trip to Austin, Texas to go see the Longhorns, see what they're about. Obviously, a lot of Aggies were upset about that, but, obviously they still got their man. Now that they don't, there's a lot of rumors that Murray might be looking at Texas. You even had multiple Texas players, without naming Murray, but shortly after finding out Murray was going to transfer, say, come on over. Even Gerard Hurd, who's somewhat starting quarterback of Texas, said, come on over. He later deleted the tweet. But one quick thing about him, why, as you know, if Murray were to transfer to Texas, Gerard, you got 1 more year because of Murray having to sit out next season. You would only have 1 year to play, and then you're going to have to switch positions because there's no way you're going to be the starting quarterback over Murray once he's eligible to play. So why would you want him to come? I mean, that means you're all about team for sure, but you got to say goodbye to the quarterback spot 100%. We'll have to see about that. In the end, Murray did pick Texas A&M over Texas, Oklahoma, and Oregon. So, again, it'll be interesting to see whether he just takes a baseball route and just forget about football, which would be crazy, but we've seen players, leave different sports for another and be more successful at that. Murray could be that guy. Definitely a interesting situation with Kyler Murray and Texas A&M, and now Texas A&M has to scramble. They don't even have a quarterback committed to Texas A&M for the 2016 class. It's going to be rough. It is going to be a rough situation for Texas A&M, and not a great thing to happen right before your bowl game, which happens again December 30th. A top-ranked running back Kareem Walker chose Michigan over Arizona State, Auburn, Florida State, and Ohio State. Walker initially committed to Ohio State, but decommitted from the Buckeyes in November after making a visit to Michigan. The Wolverines have been recruiting Walker heavily for quite some time, and after his announcement, Walker spoke with Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh on FaceTime to let him know that he had committed, saying, quote, I feel like it's a great place to play football. Jim Harbaugh is building something special there. Not only that, but I'll have a great degree leaving college, whether he stays for 4 years or not. Kareem Walker is one of my favorite running backs, and obviously he's ranked the number 1 running back for a reason. This guy has incredible skill, and for him to choose Michigan over Ohio State, knowing that Ezekiel Elliott will be gone, and also Florida State, obviously he would have Dalvin Cook next year. It's tough. He even said, quote, it was not an easy decision for me. I woke up at 1:30 this morning trying to figure it out. It wasn't easy for me. But it's him choosing Michigan is obviously going to be special for Jim Harbaugh, always wanting to run the ball. Great offensive line that he had this year. The recruits that he's bringing in for the 2016 class already has 23 total commits now. They're currently ranked number 9, but obviously the rankings don't matter. It's how you get them going for college and how they get when they get there. It is going to be exciting to see Kareem Walker with Michigan, what they can do. Everybody's talking about Jabril Peppers, but I'm telling you, Kareem Walker is a special type of talent and actually sticks to one position and can be successful at it. It's going to be exciting to watch him play there. Montana State quarterback Dakota Prukop chose Oregon over Alabama, Texas, and TCU, and pending his GRE exam in a minute to Oregon, Prukop would be eligible to play immediately and hopes to enroll in classes in early January, giving himself 8 months on campus before the Ducks' first game in 2016 season, which is something Vernon Adams Jr. tried to do and, well, failed miserably at that. But Prukop said it was interesting because Coach Helfrich told Prukop that he put him in a bind this weekend. And he would have picked Oregon on the spot when he had visited, but he knew that there would have been that what if lingering in the back of his head if he didn't go visit Alabama. Helfrich, in this way, said, quote, Helfrich said, "I'm probably the craziest guy in the world right now, but I want you to go to Alabama." He said, "You owe it to yourself. I wouldn't feel right as a coach to take an opportunity away from you. I want you to go to Alabama, see what they have to offer, and that way you'll truly know in your heart if Oregon is the right place to go." So Coach Helfrich of Oregon told him to go to Alabama, take the visit, that last-minute visit before the dead period happened, and said, "Then you make your decision. Let me know." That's tough, and it's a gamble, and it completely 100% worked out, obviously, as Prukop still committed to Oregon. And you got to think that Oregon just beat Alabama right there. For future recruits, whether they're JUCO or they're or freshmen coming in, they're looking at this and saying, "Wow, he told them to go to Alabama, take the visit. He just took both visits to Oregon and Alabama, and he chose Oregon." I mean, you look at all the facilities, everything they have to offer when they do the tours and whatnot, and Oregon just beat Alabama just like that right there. And that's huge for recruiting. And it looks great on Helfrich, especially with what he said and the final outcome of it. After his visit to Alabama, Prukop traveled to Hawaii, where he planned to go on a vacation earlier with Montana State teammate. He had already decided Oregon was the right choice when he ran into former St. Louis football coach Matt Wright, who was Marcus Mariota's high school coach. Wright only reaffirmed Prukop's perception of Helfrich when he told him that one of the main reasons Mariota chose Oregon was because of the relationship he had with Helfrich, who was, at the time, the offensive coordinator and main recruiter of Marcus Mariota, said, quote, "If Marcus Mariota chose Oregon because of Coach Helfrich, and I'm choosing Oregon because of Coach Helfrich, obviously they're doing something right, and it's something I want to be a part of." Love it. I love it. I did see one, and who knows? It was just a comment from a fan who was a Montana State fan. But if this is true, it's something to think about in case something happens. Apparently, Dakota Prukop was a, quote, all-about-me player. Apparently had a lot of fights with assistant coaches. He got one, supposedly, got one of the offensive coaches fired at Montana State or even the head coach, because of how he wanted to play and everybody all about Prukop. So obviously it was a fan, it was a comment, who really knows? But if that is true, that is something to look out for come the future if something happens where maybe he makes a few mistakes. Now, Oregon's preseason schedule, or the schedule for Oregon, isn't like it's completely bad. I actually want to bring it up. I was hearing someone talk about it, and I wanted to look it up. It's not a tough schedule in the beginning set. So when he has to get ready and starting off the season, if he starts bad, then it's just going to be bad all year. But let me bring it up real quick. So 2016 schedule for Oregon. And, of course, I don't even have it up. I'm searching it right now. Got to put football schedule. They start off with UC Davis, Virginia, at Nebraska, which who knows with Nebraska, Colorado, at Wazoo, and home against the Huskies, and then they have a bye week. And then it starts getting into somewhat tougher matchups with at Cal, home against Arizona State, at USC, Stanford, at Utah, at Oregon State, and then the Pac-12 championship if they make it. Really not a tough schedule. Basically, going off of, this year, UC Davis, FCS school, Oregon should go through them pretty easily. Virginia, having a new head coach, could be different, but the game is at home. At Nebraska, if they're anything like they were this year, Oregon should beat them easily. You've got Colorado, poor Colorado. Wazoo, who knows? It's at Wazoo as well, so could be tougher. And then the Huskies, hopefully they're a lot more improved, but it is home. So not necessarily a tough schedule for the Oregon Ducks, and should ease Dakota Prukop's way into the starting quarterback and progressing forward from there. And hopefully no injuries occur like what happened with Vernon Davis. But that is it for college football. Not a whole lot of news, just those main things right there. Again, the interview with the creator of Workhorses will be at the end of the show. It was a pretty long interview, so we're going to save that just for last. But we move over to picking some of the bowl games. We just got a few bowl games that start tomorrow. We're not going to pick all of them. We're going to go as the weeks go on until the next show. So we'll just do the weekend ones, which actually it's just December 19th. There are none on Sunday. So the first game we have is the New Mexico Bowl. And guess who's in it? That's right, New Mexico. I don't know how I would react if I was – actually, I do know how I would react if I was a college athlete from, let's say, New Mexico, and then you find out you're going to a bowl game. Awesome, you're 7-5. It's first bowl game in, like, forever. And you're not really going anywhere. You're basically staying at home. You're going to Albuquerque. And that just kind of sucks. You want to go outside. At least in my opinion, I would like to go outside. But it should help New Mexico with a few fans, but Arizona, it's not that far of a travel for them. They take on Arizona, who finished the season 6-6. Again, New Mexico is 7-5. The line is Arizona favored by 8 points. I'm going to have to take Arizona. I would love to see New Mexico win this game, but Arizona just has that, just the more talent on the team. I think they'll be able to put it together. With Solomon at quarterback, Caleb Jones at receiver having a great year, 51 receptions, 722 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a pretty big day, and I'm going to go with Arizona. That game is at 1 o'clock on ESPN. And at 2:30 Central Time on ABC, it is the Royal Purple Las Vegas Bowl, the Holy War, BYU going against Utah, and out of all places, the Holy War is taking place at Las Vegas. Utah is a 2.5-point favorite. And I would have originally had gone with BYU, but losing the head coach really for no reason. He's leaving BYU for Virginia. It's not like he was leaving to a bigger school. He's going to Virginia. It makes players, I would think, feel more down. I'm going to have to take Utah here. Devontae Booker obviously won't play, but Utah, I feel a lot more confident in their defense to stop Tanner Mangum and the rest of the BYU staff. It's Bronco Mendenhall is still coaching, trying to get his 100th win, but I don't know. I don't feel like the players are going to really trust him too much anymore. At 4:30 Central Time on ESPN, you have Ohio taking on Appalachian State in the Camellia Bowl. What is up with some of these names, I swear? Appalachian State, 7.5-point favorite. First team in FBS history to make the switch to FBS. And in their first official year, so last year they were in FBS, but their official year where they're bowl eligible, they win 10 games. Appalachian State goes 10-2 this season. They didn't have the toughest schedule, but they went 10-2, not bad for a big powerhouse in the FCS to now go to the FBS and have immediate success like that. 10-2, taking on Ohio, and this would be a huge statement win for this program, knowing that in just 2 years they've already made it to a bowl game. Last year they would have made it to a bowl game had they been eligible for it. Even though it's the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, it's a bowl game, and it's huge for Appalachian State to pull in more recruits, saying, "Hey, look, we're not rebuilding or anything. We're still going, and we're still going to be a top team." Appalachian State, I'm going with them. Marcus Cox, 1,200 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns. Tyler Lamb doesn't throw for a whole lot of yards, but he gets touchdowns, 29 passing touchdowns on the year. I think Appalachian State's going to be more motivated than Ohio will be in this game, and I can't blame Ohio. You've been to a couple bowl games the past few years, and going to Montgomery, woo! Yeah, going with Appalachian State here. At 6 o'clock Central Time on CBS Sports Network, you have the Cure Bowl, Auto Nation Cure Bowl, with San Jose State, who is 5-7, taking on Georgia State, who's 6-6, and their first bowl game ever. Georgia State last year, I think they were one of the worst teams in the country, and both in stats and overall just team. I think they won like 1 or 2 games. This year, 6-6, coming out of nowhere. Nick Arbuckle, 4,100 yards passing, 26 touchdowns. This is a brand new team. Penny Hart, 71 receptions, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. All these guys you've never heard of. And while San Jose has one of the top running backs, Tyler Ervin, 1,400 yards, 13 rushing touchdowns, I'm inclined to just pick Georgia State because of this offense, the way it's going. It's going to be a shootout game. San Jose State, a 2.5-point favorite, going with Georgia State. Again, more motivated. And you can buy this if you're in the Orlando area, $35 a ticket. There's only 84 remaining on StubHub, which I'm not sponsored by them, so I shouldn't have given a shout-out to them. But why not? If they're cheap tickets, let's see what wow. Oh, no, that's right. No. The Appalachian State Bowl, or Appalachian State game, they don't even have it anymore, tickets. I don't know. Anyways, I want to go to a bowl game. That would be fun. Last game of Saturday, December 19th, is 8 o'clock Central Time on ESPN, the RL Carriers New Orleans Bowl, which always has either Arkansas State or Louisiana Lafayette. This time it's Arkansas State in New Orleans in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Jesus, I cannot talk today. It is Arkansas State taking on Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech is a 2-point favorite. Jeff Driscoll, former Florida quarterback, 3,500 yards, 24 touchdowns. And Michael Gordon of Arkansas State, 1,000-yard rusher. And this defense for Arkansas State, they've had an interception in every game this season, including a pick 6 in their last game against Texas State. I'm going to go with Arkansas State here. I don't know why Arkansas State's not favored. Their defense is much more better than Louisiana Tech. Offensively, not the greatest, but they can get the job done. And I feel more reliable with this defense in Arkansas State to get some stops. I am going with Arkansas State here. And there's one game on Monday. Wow, it's 1 o'clock. Well, I guess school is out for everybody then, so it doesn't matter. We'll pick Monday's game with Monday's show. I just want to make sure on the time. It's 1:30 Central Time, so the show should be done by then, so we don't have to worry about that. Those are the picks. I have them written down, and we will keep track of the bowl picks because my regular season picks, I threw them away. For a reason. They were not good whatsoever. Moving on to the NFL, AJ McCarron will have to step up as starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals with Andy Dalton all but done for the year with a right thumb injury. But former teammates of McCarron at Alabama believe in his ability to get the job done. Eddie Lacy, the current running back for the Green Bay Packers and former Alabama running back, said, quote, "He's pretty much like what you look for in a quarterback. Coach Nick Saban put a lot on him. He came out and never let pressure get to him. He led the team when things weren't going too good. He'd come up and say we had to get everybody motivated, and he made the plays that were there. He pretty much took charge. I'm pretty sure that once he gets an opportunity, he'll go out and show it." And while in college, McCarron was 36-4 and led the Crimson Tide to 2 national championships and was a Heisman Trophy finalist. Now, after Andy Dalton broke his right thumb early in Sunday's loss to the Steelers, McCarron went 22 of 32 for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in about 3/4 of action. But those were his first meaningful snaps of his pro career. Former Alabama teammate Drake Kirkpatrick and now Bengals cornerback said, quote, he is always since I've known him, he stepped up to the challenge. This is a great challenge for him. I hope he does well. We need him to do well, so we're behind him 100%. I like it, and I like AJ McCarron. I think he will do a great job. You saw the good things that he did were really good, and the bad things that he did were really bad. But that comes with when you don't take any snaps and you're not in the game. But pretty impressive game against the Steelers. Again, he had a terrible pick 6, another bad interception. 2 touchdowns, though, beautiful. First touchdown to AJ Green, a beautiful throw. I think it was a 64-yard or something around that. A beautiful throw. It was on the spot. He led the receiver to the ball. Beautiful. Everything about it was perfect. So he shows potential that possibly can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Now he's got a chance to do it. Andy Dalton being optimistic about the injury, but it's on his right thumb. You obviously need the thumb when you're gripping the football. And they say maybe if they get a divisional bye, then he should be ready to go by then, which would be great. But honestly, I think it's AJ McCarron all the way through, which really sucks because this looks like the best Bengals team they've had with Andy Dalton being there. So obviously with the playoff record and whatnot, it'd be great for Andy Dalton because what happens if whatever the record goes for Cincinnati, whether they win out or they get enough wins that seals them as the second team in the AFC, obviously they would need the Patriots to lose a few games and Bengals to basically win out for the Bengals to get the number 1 seed. They have the tiebreaker over the Broncos for right now. The only tiebreaker they have on them is their wins against AFC opponents. So, they lose a few games. They've already lost one with the Steelers. They lose a few more. That tiebreaker can easily drop them from 2nd to 3. And we know how important the Bengals need that second overall with having the playoff bye week with them. So with that, what if the scenario happens with, let's say Andy Dalton's he's done for the year. He's out for the year. AJ McCarron does whatever in the regular season. He's a starter in the playoff. And what if the Bengals win in the playoff game? Go to the AFC Championship game, but they win that divisional playoff without Andy Dalton. Does that start anything with should we have AJ McCarron? Dalton takes them to the playoffs every single year. Doesn't win the playoff game. McCarron, his first time, wins it. Does it spark anything? It's obviously going to be a hot topic for a while. I hope the best for the Bengals. I like them only because of Andy Dalton, TCU fan. But that would just seem like a really bad thing to happen. Eddie Lacy later goes on to say about AJ McCarron that, quote, I'm pretty sure he's put in the time since he's been here. He understands it, and it's just going out there and getting comfortable. But once he goes out there and once he gets the flow of things, he's a great quarterback. Andy Dalton doing the best he can, saying that he'll be right there with him. Quote, I'm helping him out with what I see on the sideline compared to what I see seen out there on the field. I'm helping him in any way I can. He'll be all right. This past week for Andy Dalton said it's been both weird and different. Who will miss his first start in his 5-year career because of a right thumb injury again that we just talked about. Saying, quote, it's just a different perspective now. Last week was my first little taste of it. Dalton had previously missed only 2 starts during his NFL and college careers combined, obviously both of them being at TCU. That's saying something. Dalton's been obviously very reliable for them and thankfully not injury prone. And hopefully Andy Dalton can bounce back and be ready for the playoffs because the Bengals really need a playoff win with Dalton at starting quarterback. This past week on Wednesday, Cleveland Browns head coach Mike Pettin said something that might have been taken out of context, but if you listen to all of it, he still probably should have just never said anything. On Thursday, he decided to clarify his comments about Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks quarterback, on Thursday with saying that that he's not a second-tier quarterback, but at the same time being a second tier. Anyways, he said he opened up his news conference saying that he's updated his quarterback rankings, and every quarterback that I've played, it's a quote, every quarterback that's ever played is tied for number 1, the best ever. Pettin said on Wednesday that Russell Wilson was a second-tier of NFL quarterbacks behind Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers. This is what he had to say on Thursday.
There aren't too many quarterbacks I have more respect for than Russell Wilson. I mean, all the guy does is go out and do everything right and win football games. So, it's to sit and take one fragment of what I said and just because I'd gone against Tom Brady and and when you see, it's not my job to rank quarterbacks, but and I know the bottom line for those guys is, and he said it himself, is to win football games, and he's one of the best at that. So I don't get too wrapped up into it. This isn't the first time that I've said a lot on one topic, and one small fragment of it was all of a sudden taken and made into a headline. So if I get worried about that, then that's taken away from me getting my job done. So, like I said, he's won a lot of football games. He does that really well. I try to answer the questions I get asked honestly, and really don't have time to sit around and rank the quarterback. So I think anybody that knows me and knows what I've said.
So later just finish this out that not his job to rank quarterbacks. If he does it, he's not doing his job, properly. He's just there to coach. My thing is, never said anything. And I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan in the beginning to start off anyways. So when I first saw this, of course, I overreacted. And I was like, why would you say that about Russell Wilson? The first 2 years, obviously, he goes to the Super Bowl. His third year. But I don't know. Especially in the situation that he's in. And talking about that right before you're about to play him, and the Seahawks been on fire. And Russell Wilson's been on absolute fire right now. He's coming alive this past few games. And you're now going to go against him when your team's not looking the greatest. It just amazes me that you would start kind of talking smack. And yes, it was a fragment of what he said, but at the same time, why wouldn't you still list him as a top-tier quarterback? Why would he be listed as a second? You look at what he's done in his first few years, it's more than what any of those other guys did in their first few years. Some had to sit, some started right away, whatever you want to look at it. But you look at their first couple years starting at quarterback, and Russell's done a lot, and almost comparable, if not better, than what they did in those at that same time period. So wouldn't he still be looked at as a top-tier quarterback? In my book, and I think in a lot of people's minds, Russell Wilson is a top-tier quarterback. You can't just say, well, he only has one Super Bowl ring and Brady has 4 or 5, whatever, and Roethlisberger has 2 and Drew Brees has 1, Aaron Rodgers has 1. Whatever you look at it, you can't just list it all by their entire career to Russell's short career. You just can't do that. So, yes, Tom Brady, he goes against them, whatever. It's not like Tom Brady's in your division or whatnot, and you're going to go ahead and just list Tom Brady right away and whatnot. I don't know. My opinion, Russell Wilson is a top-tier quarterback. Let me know if you have the same opinion about that, or you see him as a second tier. I would love to hear why you would list him as a second-tier quarterback. The St. Louis Rams have no plans to fire head coach Jeff Fisher after the season and would like for him to return in the 2016 season. Now, I believe I said last week that the Rams were, a bit in trouble, and that maybe that Jeff Fisher might not be the guy anymore. I'm a huge Jeff Fisher fan. Followed him with Tennessee, and I was excited when the Rams got him. I actually wanted the Chargers to get him back when we fired North Turner, or maybe before North Turner. I don't even remember. But anyways, huge fan of Jeff Fisher, but I was like, this team is just not looking too good. Now, last night looked pretty well, at least offensively. Pretty solid. Fisher, who signed a 5-year contract, a $35 million contract in 2012, that goes through 2016. His record in St. Louis overall is 26-35-1. Fisher fired offensive coordinator Frank Cignetti on December 7th and promoted Rob Boras to the position. Now, entering Thursday night's game, the Rams were 31st in NFL yards per game, and also offensive points per game, and last in passing yards per game in first downs. Last night they did pretty well against the Buccaneers defense, but a lot of people, I was looking through Twitter, and a lot of people were shocked about how well Case Keenum looked and how well he was. If you truly watched him, and I'm not going to blame him. A lot of people didn't watch him back when he was in high school and when he was in college at Houston. I mean, he was at Houston for 6 years. Had multiple ACL injuries, I believe, and he got medical red shirts. But he was at Houston for 6 years, and was an amazing job. Did an amazing job under Kevin Sumlin over there. He could really throw. But a lot of people labeled him as that air raid quarterback, so he wasn't picked high enough. He wasn't looked at higher awards and in the NFL draft. But I always believed in Case Keenum. I really liked him. And so when he was at Houston, I was excited when Houston picked him up because I was like, that's great. He's in his backyard with the Texans. It's perfect for him to take a spot that, the Texans aren't strong at. Matt Schaub struggles. Case Keenum goes in after T.J. Yates and a few other quarterbacks. He's 3-4 as a starting quarterback. Houston decides that, they felt that they wanted to be able to trade him. The Rams wanted him. Rams got him. He's now 4-5 as a starter with the win last night and did pretty well. He was 14 of 17, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a QBR of 93 and a passer rating of 158. He only threw 17 times, but it got the job done. The Rams win the game. And if you see some of the throws he had, they were just on point. They were beautiful. I mean, he has the arm to do it. I think this is his job from now on. I think Case Keenum can really take charge here in St. Louis. And honestly, as the next 3 games go on, it'd be interesting to see how Case Keenum does. If he does well, wins out, they go 8-8 or whatever. I'm tempted to say, don't draft a quarterback. You got Nick Foles still. He can be the backup, which is kind of weird. I mean, I don't know what his contract will be. Actually, they signed him to a 3-year extension, so I don't know if you're going to be able to trade him, but keep him or whatnot. But Case Keenum, to me, I feel like could be the starting quarterback and lead this team. Get more offensive linemen so that way he has more time to throw. Get another receiver out there to help out. Tavon Austin, Kenny Brent looked great last night, but how many more years does he have left in him? Stedman Bailey, if he's able to recover, to get back to game speed by next season, who knows? Get another offensive weapon. You obviously have Todd Gurley, Trey Mason, great stable running backs, Benny Cunningham with this long kickoff return. You got some offensive weapons. Get another big receiver, maybe like a Josh Doxson, maybe a Corey Coleman. Imagine that, having Tavon Austin, Corey Coleman at wide receivers. I doubt they're going to want another small receiver, but depending on what Stedman Bailey, his recovery time is, maybe he takes his spot. I don't know. I'm getting too in-depth about St. Louis right now. But, people shouldn't be shocked with Case Keenum. Go watch his tape back in college. Go watch his highlights, what he did. It was amazing what he was how he's able to run the system. And he's obviously done it pretty well. Yes, he should have had a pick last night that the Buccaneers dropped, but, I mean, the rest of the throws, they were on point. They really were. So just check that out. Just check on Case Keenum. All those people that were just tweeting like, wow, he is really good and blah, blah, blah. Gotta go watch him. Gotta watch him. Todd Gurley finished with 21 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown. We'll talk about the game in just a bit. Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. said Thursday that his, quote, why so serious Joker cleats from Monday night's game in Miami had nothing to do with Carolina cornerback Josh Norman, and even downplayed their highly anticipated matchup this weekend at MetLife Stadium. Said, quote, as far as I'm concerned, the Giants play the Panthers. There's 11 guys on the field, and every one of them has a one-on-one matchup. Norman referred to himself as Batman and said the symbolism of Beckham wearing the Joker cleats means something to him. But Beckham said, quote, I wore those last week and nothing and played it down. It is going to be a great matchup. Josh Norman has shut down every wide receiver he's faced, including Des Bryant, and list goes on and on. Dustin Hopkins. He shut down everybody he's played. Now he's got a shot to take on Odell Beckham, who's done a really good job this season. Again, another 1,000-yard receiving season in just his second year, and has just done an amazing job with amazing catches, of course. And I still can't get over the touchdown catch in against Miami. I mean, you got to list that up there with one of his top catches. Again, to recognize where he's at on the field, make a tough catch, and have both feet in bounce and dragging the other toe. Amazing. Just absolutely amazing. And this is going to be a great test. I know, he's saying that it is just it's about the team. But like he said, even in his quote, there is a one-on-one matchup. He's going to have that one-on-one matchup. Josh Norman's going to cover him all the way through. Dustin Hopkins tweeted and deleted the tweet saying, Odell Beckham, somewhere along the line saying, get ready, you're about to face the best cover 3 corner, something like that, taking a shot at Josh Norman and taking a shot overall at the joke of everything. Whether this is a Batman versus Joker type thing, whatever you want to look at it as, is going to be a great matchup. See Odell Beckham and Josh Norman. How this game is not flexed into a Sunday night game, I understand that the Giants were just on Monday night, but if you look at next Monday night's game, we got the Lions and the Saints. Absolutely a boring game. Sunday night, who do we have? I know last week. I told you guys last week's Sunday night game was going to suck with the Patriots and the freaking Texans. Okay, we got the Cardinals and the Eagles. I'd much rather see Giants and Panthers Sunday night game, in my opinion. Both teams, for sure we know. Well, Giants, who really knows actually, but that's a much more intriguing game in my mind. And I believe a lot of people would agree with the matchup that we're going to have. But either way, it's going to be a great matchup no matter when it takes place. And we'll see who gets the better. And especially the responses afterwards. If Odell does, beat Josh Norman on a few routes, how is he going to respond? How is Josh Norman going to respond to that? Or, vice versa. It's going to be nice to watch. It's going to be nice to watch. Cincinnati Bengals linebacker Vontaze Burfict was fined after all on Thursday. And check this out. Man, you got to... he was fined for the hit on the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. And it was just the numbers. For 3 things that happened, the amount of money he's about to get fined is incredible. He was fined for unnecessary roughness on 2 additional plays for a total of just under $70,000. $70,000 he's being fined for. That is incredible. I think it's the top. It was in the top 3 of the highest ever to get fined in NFL history. He is appealing the fines, of course. I think anybody would. But it appeared that Burfict dove for Roethlisberger's ankles after Roethlisberger released the pass during the first half of the Steelers' 33-20 win against Cincinnati. Burfict said he was pushed into Roethlisberger while he was attempting a pass rush. Roethlisberger said on an appearance of Pittsburgh's 93.7 The Fan on Tuesday, quote, "I don't buy he was pushed. I think he was definitely diving low for my legs." Now, Burfict does have has a history of serious disciplinary issues for his play on the field. He was previously fined a total of $77,000 for 4 incidents, including a $25,000 fine last season for purposely twisting the ankles of Panthers quarterback Cam Newton and Greg Olsen. So obviously this guy has some issues. Remember him coming out of, I believe, Arizona State, having some issues off the field with anger management, and on the field they had him suspended for a few games and also dropped him down in the draft boards because of his aggressive, probably overly aggressive playing nature. I think, yeah, he appeals the fines. I don't think they go any lower. It's just under 70,000. I think it's like 68 or 69 point something, whatever. He's going to get fined this much money, and honestly, I think the appealing won't even help. I think they might just relook at it and say, you know what? All right, we'll cut it down. We'll cut the price down, but that means you get suspended for a few games. I mean, when is he going to be suspended? I like him when he doesn't play overly aggressive. The type of player he is, obviously he's a great linebacker, but when he twisted the ankles of the Panthers quarterback Cam Newton and Greg Olsen last year, a lot of talk about that. And then now this, it's like, all right, is it going to take someone actually really getting hurt for them to say, all right, you're suspended, 2 or 3 games? By now, I mean, what if Roethlisberger got hurt again? We're talking some serious serious deal here. Indianapolis Colts quarterback Matt Hasselbeck returned to practice Thursday, was non-committal on whether he will play Sunday against the Houston Texans because he said that heavy breathing is, quote, not easy for him. Hasselbeck re-injured his ribs in Sunday's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars when he hit the ground hard after being pushed out of bounds by Jaguars linebacker Telvin Smith. And Hasselbeck originally injured his ribs in Week 13 at Pittsburgh. If Hasselbeck doesn't play, then Charlie Whitehurst, a.k.a. Clipboard Jesus, if you type in Clipboard Jesus on Google search or Bing search images, whatever, you will immediately see multiple pictures of Charlie Whitehurst, either in the Chargers uniform, his Clemson uniform, the Titans uniform, and the Colts uniform. It's freaking hilarious. You also see pictures of Jesus with Jesus' face cut off, or not cut off, but replaced with Charlie Whitehurst. It's kind of funny. He will start. Charlie Whitehurst would then start against the Texans because Coach Pagano said that he has ruled out Andrew Luck for the game. This is a very important game. The Colts and the Texans are both tied for first place in the AFC South, and the winner of this, sadly, will take first place. I never thought I would say it. I'm rooting for the Jaguars. I don't really like the Texans. I'm so tired of the Colts winning all the time, winning the AFC South. I'd much rather see a Jacksonville Jaguars team in the playoffs than a injury-filled Colts team and a boring Houston Texans team. Overall, my choice would be Tennessee, but there's no way Tennessee's ever this year. They're just out. So we'll have to see, but I would love to see the Jaguars win the AFC South and the Texans and the Colts just not make the playoffs at all. So we can have that happen. If both teams can somehow just tie, which is a possibility, if they can tie, that would be the best way. Or if they both just said, we forfeit the game, which I highly doubt would happen. But I'm just saying, they are very boring to watch. And that's definitely a game, even though it's local, so it will be one of the games I will be that I have a choice to watch. I am not watching that game. It is not happening. If that's the only game somehow that is available for me, I will just not watch NFL. I will wait until Sunday afternoon or Sunday night whenever this game is not playing. The New York Jets will surrender a 6th-round draft pick to the Houston Texans in a trade for Ryan Fitzpatrick now that the quarterback has played more than 70% of the Jets' play this season. When the Jets traded a conditional 7th-round pick to the Texans for Fitzpatrick in March, the agreement was that it would become a 6th-round pick if it reached that number, and it has, of course, done that. So the Jets do not have a 5th-round draft pick as they gave that up to the Bears for Brandon Marshall, and will not have a 6th-round draft pick because of the trade to the Texans. So. But, you got Ryan Fitzpatrick and Brandon Marshall, who Fitzpatrick has 25 passing touchdowns this year and is about to possibly could break the record for the Jets starting quarterback passing touchdown record, which is surprisingly only at 29. You would have thought with Joe Namath and a couple other quarterbacks, Chad Pennington, that number would have been 35, 38 maybe. No, it is 29. That is the most a New York Jets quarterback has ever thrown for touchdown-wise. And Fitzpatrick has 25. Brandon Marshall has 11 of those. So Fitzpatrick can possibly and most likely will break that record, which would be pretty cool to see. Last bit of news before we talk about the playoff picture and some picks. There's a great article on Monday Morning Quarterback on Sports Illustrated by none other than Seattle Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman. He wrote an article. He does this every now and then, and it's about what could be fixed about NFL officiating. The link is in the description below, so please check it out. It's a great article, and I agree with everything Richard Sherman says about it. It'd be nice for that to be implemented. There's a lot of talk about the NFL changing some of the officiating rules and standards for the playoffs and onward. Richard Sherman comes up with 4 different ways of what can really be fixed, and does a really good job about it and not being biased towards just the defensive side. He does list one thing about the defense for pass interference, but it's a really great article. Check it out. It's Richard Sherman, Seattle Seahawks, 4 Ways Fix Officiating. The link, again, is in the description below, no matter where you're listening to. Playoff picture in the AFC, of course, the New England Patriots hold on to that number 1 seed at 11-2. Cincinnati Bengals are the number 2 seed, as they, again, have the by virtue of its winning percentage against AFC foes over the Denver Broncos. Both teams at 10-3, which Broncos, again, have the 3rd seed because of that. Colts right now, because they are the AFC South leader with the Texans, it's tied, I guess. So both teams, I guess, can be listed as the 4th seed with the Colts and the Texans. Both at 6 and 7. The winner, of course, becomes that 4th seed, and the other team drops out of the playoff picture for right now. Kansas City, with their 7th straight win so far, they are 8-5, and they have the 5th seed. And the New York Jets at the 6th seed with 8-5. So the playoffs, again, we love to do the scenario here on the Short Sports Show, even though it does not matter. If the season were to end today, you would have both the Patriots and the Bengals off and having, home field advantage with the Patriots. You would have the New York Jets at Denver to take on the Broncos, and the Kansas City Chiefs in a rematch against the Indianapolis Colts from 2 years ago in a big shootout game, which was very fun to watch. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that if that ends up becoming the final thing. But hopefully, again, Jacksonville, come on, let's root for Jacksonville, guys. Not a lot of people do it. Let's do it. The NFC side, Carolina, of course, they've clinched home field advantage all the way through and will be the number 1 seed at 13-0. Then you have the Arizona Cardinals at the number 2 seed at 11-2. Green Bay regains the 3rd spot and the NFC North at 9-4. The Washington Redskins, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the New York Giants all 6-7. So they have a shot, I guess, to win, get the 4th seed and the NFC East. Cowboys, 2 games or 1 game behind, 2 games behind. They need, I found out the scenario for anybody that's a Cowboys fan, or for anybody that wants to know, here's the scenario, and it's the only way the Cowboys can make the playoffs. Of course, the Cowboys have to win out. They got to win the next 3 games. They cannot lose another game, no matter what. They have to win out. And the Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants all have to go 1-2 in the next 3 games. Each one of them. Not one of them can go 2-1 or 3-0 especially. They all have to go 1-2 or worse. But I think some of them play each other, so they have to win a game. Or they tie, which that would be kind of crazy to see. That's the only way the Cowboys can make the playoffs. Cowboys have to win out. The rest of the NFC East, those 3 teams have to go 1-2 the next 3 weeks. The Seattle Seahawks, they get the 5th seed at 8-5, and the Minnesota Vikings have the 6th seed at 8-5 because of a tiebreaker with the Seahawks beating the Vikings. Seahawks get the 5th seed. So, again, if the playoffs were to end today, the Panthers and the Cardinals have off the first week, and in the wild card, we would have the Seattle Seahawks on the road in Green Bay. That would be a fun matchup to see. And then we would see the Minnesota Vikings taking on the NFC East winner, whoever that would be. And honestly, it doesn't really matter because they'll probably lose. So, going to be pretty interesting. So, that wraps up the NFL. We'll do our picks right here, right now. And again, we talked about the Rams improving to 6-8 and possibly their last home game in St. Louis. I highly doubt it. I just want the Rams to stay in St. Louis. I think it's a perfect spot. You got the St. Louis Cardinals there. The Rams, it'd be huge for the Rams to stay in St. Louis. I understand they're the, quote, real LA team, but I would like to see the Rams stay in St. Louis and stay there. I think it's great for the NFL geographically. I think it's best. Stay in St. Louis. Just get a brand new stadium. That Edward Jones Dome is the worst stadium in the NFL, next to the Qualcomm Stadium and the Coliseum, Oakland Coliseum. All 3 of those, which is funny, that the worst stadiums are all each 3 teams that are possibly leaving. They all need brand new stadiums. Knock them out. So with that, with a quick little thing I guess we could talk about. Rams, I hope they stay in St. Louis. Just get a brand new stadium. Probably switch back to. I love the gold, the blue and gold. I really do. But having that helmet, that blue and yellow, just brings back some good. Even though I never watched them when they were that color, but brings back good memories watching them. And it'd be nice to have them back to that color just every now and then. Anyways, Rams stay in St. Louis. Oakland Raiders, they won't get a brand new stadium unless they leave to L.A., which is bad, but I would like to see them stay in Oakland, get a brand new stadium, and then just have the Chargers move to L.A. and get the new stadium, whichever it might be. Not being biased, I know I'm a Chargers fan, but I like to see the Chargers move to L.A. I mean, the fans say that they're still supportive of the Chargers for staying in San Diego. Well, the last time I checked, the Charger games I've been watching, it could be my eyes. I wear glasses, so my eyes could be all messed up. But I see more away fans than I see Charger fans there. I understand the team sucks this year, but this is a very important year, and you're wanting your team to stay in San Diego, yet you are not going to the games. I don't understand. I don't understand. Was there that big of a drop-off in the economy where you now can't buy tickets that you did last year and you can't do it this year? And actually, honestly, the past 2 years have just been terrible at home games. They've been more away games, which doesn't help the Chargers win any games either. When you got more Patriots fans and Broncos fans and Steeler fans and everybody else in the NFL, all 31 other teams, basically now making that their home game. So hopefully Chargers can move to L.A. Yes, there were good memories, and if the Chargers do move, or even if they don't, I want them to go back to the old uniforms. Go back to the dark blue helmet, dark blue face mask, dark blue jerseys, dark blue pants. Let's go back to that. Back to when we looked fearsome and aggressive, not this ugly uniforms that we have now. Anyways, moving on. Again, the Rams did beat the Buccaneers. Both teams 6-8 now. Buccaneers out of the playoffs. They can apparently they're eliminated. But the Rams still have a shot again. I don't know. It's just weird. Rams win 31-23. Jameis Winston 29 of 50, 363 yards and 2 touchdowns. The most passing yards he's had in a game this year. Running game was not existent for either team. I mean total yardage. Of course it was, but like per player wasn't the biggest. Mike Evans, 9 receptions, 157 yards. Of course, we talked about Case Keenum and Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley missing the first 4 games of the year because of injury, and rushes over 1,000 yards now. I know we've talked about Amari Cooper as a rookie of the year, but Amari Cooper he's been quiet the past few games. Todd Gurley, because of the injury and because of the year he's already had now, Todd Gurley is the rookie of the year. No doubt about it. Offensively and defensively, he is the rookie of the year. Overall, he is. Saturday, tomorrow, we have the Jets at the Cowboys, a Saturday night game, 7:25 Central Time in Arlington, Texas. The Jets are favored 3.5 points. I'm taking the Jets here. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brandon Marshall. Need I say more? Cowboys, Matt Castle, Des Bryant. Honestly, we didn't do a Monday show, so we didn't really talk about the games, but just a quick little thing. Matt Castle wasn't bad against the Packers. Honestly, I think he played his best game, which, doesn't really say a lot because he hasn't really played well all year. But he really did play a great game against Green Bay. Des Bryant let him down. Other receivers dropping balls, fumbles. Matt Castle really did a great job. Des Bryant, you really cost him the game, honestly. The defense, they can only be the Cowboys defense isn't bad. They can't do that much. When you're in it and then you continue to see your offense failing, that does not motivate you as a defensive player. It just says, all right, we got to go out there again. First few times, all right, hey, let's settle down. We can get it. We stop them, and our offense can make something happen. But when it happens quarter after quarter after quarter, and then you get into the fourth quarter, and you're down maybe 2 possessions, whether it's 2 touchdowns or a touchdown to field goal, you start thinking, look, we stop them here, we still got to stop them again, and your offense is struggling. It causes more problems, and I feel bad for the Cowboys defense. This offense isn't getting going. Des Bryant has to have a huge game here, and the supporting cast. Cole Beasley's got to return back to. I know he had one good game, and then he's disappeared the rest of the year. He's got to come back. McFadden, other guys, they all got to step up here. The Bears take on the Vikings. Vikings are a 7-point favorite. It's supposed to be 39 degrees in Minneapolis, Minnesota at 12 p.m. Central Time. I'm taking the Vikings here. Adrian Peterson, big game for him. Falcons at the Jaguars. I told you guys I'm rooting for the Jaguars all the way, so of course I'm going to take the Jaguars here. Offensively, really good. Defensively, very bad. So, come on, Jags. But Falcons, they've been bad ever since they started off 5-0. After that, they've just been terrible. Texans and the Colts, I honestly don't care. Vegas doesn't even care. There's not even a line for this. No, they only don't have the line because they don't know who the starting quarterbacks are going to be. But, honestly, it's a pick 'em game. I guess I'm going to go Colts here with Clipboard Jesus or with Matt Hasselbeck. I'm taking the Colts here. Or maybe, I don't know, Texans. They got demolished against the Patriots. I honestly don't care. I'm not even going to pick. I just don't care about that game. Panthers and the Giants. Panthers a 4.5-point favorite. And it's going to be, again, the great game. Josh Norman, Odell Beckham. I'm going to take Panthers here, 14-0. I hope they go undefeated all the way. I really do. Yeah, I just think they got it all the way. Defensively and offensively, I'm going to go with Panthers here. Titans at the Patriots. Patriots a 15.5-point favorite over the 3-10 Titans. I really hope the Titans win this game. I love the Titans. But I just can't see them coming. The defense is way too bad. Their DBs, they need this offseason, they just need to release every DB or trade them if they can get anything out of it. Trade all the DBs. Release them if they have to, if it comes down to that. Get them all out and just draft and go after free agency because all these defensive backs for Tennessee, except for Jason McCourty, except for him, everybody else in the Titans DBs absolutely suck. They're terrible. Get them out. They just need some new players. They got a good pass rush. They have a solid linebacking core. They need some secondary. That's why they're going to get torched against the Patriots. I hope Marcus Mariota and Titans can put up some points and win this game, but got to be realistic here. Going with the Patriots. Bills and the Washington team going at it. Going with the Bills here. Buffalo a 1-point favorite on the road. Chiefs and the Ravens. Ravens are, I don't know why they're still playing football. More people are getting hurt. Honestly, it's just not safe for Baltimore to be playing football. And their season, it's already done. Might as well just finish the year 4-12, forfeit the games, keep your guys healthy, the guys that you do have healthy left. Chiefs win this game, get their 8th straight victory. That's incredible for the Chiefs. The Browns and the Seahawks. We talked about that. Seahawks now a 16.5-point favorite over the Browns. Thomas Rawls out for the year with the broken ankle and a torn ligament. More Seattle running backs are going to have to step up. They re-signed Christian Michael to bring him back. Hopefully he can, focus on the field and can get something done. Going with the Seahawks here. I don't know if they'll cover that. 16.5 seems like a lot. I know they're at home, but I don't know. It's going to be a good test for Johnny Manziel. Show what he's about against a really, 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 really good defense in the Seahawks. But I'm going to go Seahawks here with the pick. I don't know if I would go with them with the spread. Honestly, I've been bad with the spread. We do this at work. We pick games on the spread. We don't bet any money. Calm down. But we, pick games for fun. And I'm last, I think, in picking against the spread. But I'm near the top, if not at the top, in picking the actual games. I suck at the spread, though. So don't listen to me on the spread, just on the picks. Going with the Seahawks with the pick. Packers at the Raiders. Now, it's funny how I just said listen to me on the picks, but I'm actually going to take the Raiders here over Green Bay. So, again, you probably are not going to listen to me anymore. It's in Oakland. Green Bay's only a 3-point favorite, but I think Amari Cooper gets back on track here. Derek Carr's been, okay. He's had a couple bad picks. I think the Raiders can win this game. I really do. I think they're going to find momentum. They're going to get on stride. It's going to be a tough game against Green Bay. Sam Shields is out for Green Bay, which can help Derek Carr in the passing game. I know, call me crazy. I'm probably losing my mind. It's been a tough year. But I'm taking the Raiders to win this game, to win over Green Bay in the Oakland Coliseum. The game is on Fox, 3:05 p.m. Central Time. It's supposed to be rainy and 60 degrees in Oakland. I hope it stays that way. It'd be a fun game to watch, a rainy game in Oakland with the Packers and Raiders. It'd be fun to watch. And, going with the Raiders. Broncos and the Steelers on CBS. I'm going to go Broncos here. Pittsburgh is a 7.5-point favorite. I know they got everybody healthy for them. But I'm going to take the Broncos. I like them. Their defense, I feel like, can shut down Steelers for multiple drives. And, excuse me, allergies coming back. I think Brock Osweiler, could settle down, get some things going, and be a huge statement win for the Broncos. But it'd be great for the Broncos to lose, at least for the Bengals side, because of whether the Bengals lose or win, it'd be great for the Bengals to try to secure that second spot. Dolphins and the Chargers. Like I said, I'm a Chargers fan. This could be, and probably, and I hope, is the last game in San Diego for the Chargers. They're taking on the Dolphins. Chargers a 1-point favorite. I am taking the Dolphins, and I hope the Dolphins win. I know people are going to say things about me being a Chargers fan, hoping they lose, but honestly, what is there to play for? And I want a high draft pick because we suck. We need offensive linemen. We need receivers. We need defensive line. We need cornerbacks all in this draft, and we have to, just to be good for next year. We have to hit all of those next year in draft and free agency. That is going to be near impossible to actually get standout players in all of those core areas. I mean, multiple offensive linemen, at least a top receiver. We need a top receiver in like Josh Doxson, Corey Coleman, Laquan Treadmill, really? Wow. Treadwell. We need one of those guys, but at the same time, we got to draft, Ronnie Staley from Notre Dame. I think that's a home run if we can get him. It's just, I don't know how it's going to happen. And we need a top DB, multiple top DBs. And we need a pass rush. I mean, there's so many things, and that's why it's better to lose. Why would we want us to win when it's just going to drop us lower in the draft? I don't know. Going with the Dolphins here. Bengals and the 49ers. It's going to be tough. 49ers. I'm taking Cincinnati. I'm going with Cincinnati here. Sunday night we have the Cardinals and the Eagles. I'm taking the Cardinals here. And Monday night we have a boring matchup with the Lions and the Saints. And Saints are a 3.5-point favorite. So I'm going to go with the Saints here. No. I don't know. This is another game. It's just very boring, just like the Texans and the Colts game. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go Saints, I guess. It's such a bad game. Going to go with the Saints there. That is it. Basically wrapping up the show for me, but we do have the interview with Abram Booty, the creator of Workhorses. It's a feature film on Kickstarter. You guys go support it. Link is down below in the description. The full trailer is on my YouTube channel, The Short Sports Show. Again, that link is in the description below. No matter where you're listening to, follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Thank you guys so much for the support. I will for sure have a show on Monday morning. Sorry about last Monday. We'll be back Monday morning to talk about bowl games, other news, and the NFL playoff picture as we get closer with week 14 wrapping up here. So thank you guys so much. Here is the interview with Abram Booty, the creator of Workhorses. Again, the link is down in the description below. Please go check it out. And as always, guys, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace. All right, everybody. Like I said, we have Abram Booty here, the creator/director of Workhorses. And Abram, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, hey, excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
Now, for people that don't know or haven't heard just yet, I mean, you've done multiple interviews now and multiple stories that have been out about this. What is Workhorses all about?
Workhorses is a movie, but more importantly than that, Workhorses is a movement. And I'm really excited about where the movement's going. We just released a couple of days ago on Kickstarter at Workhorses Movie. But the movement is swelling. We've got support from Ray Lewis and Aaron Rodgers and Desmond Howard, which you'll see Desmond and Ray on the video. Trent Dilford's on our video at Kickstarter at Workhorses. And more and more athletes are joining the movement to back being able to financially support these college athletes, not pay them big, huge salaries, but to be able to make sure that these kids can go out to eat from time to time, buy a new pair of tennis shoes, every 3 or 4 months, to have get compensation to some proportion of the tremendous value that they're bringing to these universities. Michigan just signed a Nike deal worth over $100 million just to put the Nike sign on their uniforms. The players get nothing, the coaches get millions. So there's a huge discrepancy right now and injustice, and that's what the movement is all about at Kickstarter at Workhorses Movie.
And what gave you inspiration to the film that really just that made you want to bring this to life to everybody?
I saw my younger brother, John David Booty, was a starting quarterback at the USC in 2007 at the Rose Bowl. He was MVP in 2008, but in 2007, his favorite receiver, Dwayne Jarrett, was the MVP of the game. And I remember afterwards watching, all the kids had his jerseys on, ABC had microphones in his face, and it was this great moment for Dwayne. And then after that game, we picked up John David in the locker room and started to drive away from the stadium to go back home. And about a mile down the road, a dark road, we saw a player walking by himself, and we could tell it was an athlete, so we pulled over, and it was none other than Dwayne Jarrett, the MVP of the Rose Bowl, the hero. And I said, Dwayne, man, where you going? And he's like, I'm trying to go get something to eat. He had no transportation and very little money in his pocket, so we picked him up, drove him to the nearest McDonald's, made sure he had arrangements to get back from there. And that's the inspiration. I said, you know what, it's reminding me of all the days when I played at LSU, to seeing players go through these things. I was going to do something about it, so I wrote this story, and the story got turned into a script and started to get backed by some of the most prominent NFL players and current analysts.
Right now, like you said in the trailer on Kickstarter, you talked to Ray Lewis, Desmond Howard, Seattle Seahawks defensive end Michael Bennett. Who are his guys that will be in the movie?
Well, there's a chance that Desmond will play kind of himself as an analyst. All these guys that are on there have said they're willing to make cameos, whether it be as assistant coaches or dads to players. So you'll see when the movie comes out, they'll be sprinkled and star-studded with a lot of these players, not as a distraction, but they just want to be part of the movement. And more players are coming on board right now and joining us, and that's what we're trying to get with this Kickstarter campaign. It's not just the players. The players know the injustices that are happening right now to these young men, but we want the general public to stand up and say, you know what, I want to do something about this too. Those who believe like we believe, I want to contribute to this campaign to make sure that this movie and this movement continues to move forward.
Right, and what made you choose to create a movie instead of a documentary? Because the trailer it shows a lot like would be a documentary, and
right,
you're creating a feature film for it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I just got the phone with Forbes magazine, and they were asking the same question. And the real reason is, anytime that the average person or the average fan watches a documentary, it's always about stats and numbers and confusion and how can we fix the problem. And it gets so overwhelming and that's what the NCAA wants, so much confusion that people just stop asking questions and move along with their day. So I wanted to paint a picture. I want to pull back the curtain for the average fan to see, okay, after the big game, after the lights go off, what's the next 6 days look like for most of these young men that come from, single-parent homes, lower-income families? What's their life really like? And that's what I think is going to create real change.
Right. And now obviously all the current athletes, majority of them are on board with this. How do you try to get them to be involved, but at the same time not trying to have them to be a distraction to the university? Somewhat with like Northwestern with their union thing that would happen at the beginning of the year. How do you try to get them that are in support for this, but to be involved, but as well as not making a distraction towards their university or towards their team?
Right, and you brought up the Northwestern situation. We have in our video at Kickstarter at Workhorses movie, we have Kane Coulter, which was the quarterback that started that. He's in our preview there. If you get a chance to check him out. But that's why it's mostly in the biggest names, the biggest faces are obviously guys that have played college before, but are out of that system and now playing in the NFL, and they've got notoriety. So that's why, they're the most outspoken about it, because they have the least risk. College players are always worried about what's the NCAA going to do if I make this move. But we're starting to get some support from the current college players, from tweets and Facebook and things like that. But we want them to stay focused on winning and doing the right thing. But at the same time, at some point, the college players have the power. They always have. They just haven't realized it. And that's one of the things that comes to the culmination at the end of the movie. We show players how to have real change. Of course, I'm not going to give that away here, but we're excited about that getting out there.
Right. And question that I've been wanting to ask, and it's great with you as you're showing the story. Now, we saw at the University of Missouri with when the players, said they weren't going to play, they weren't going to participate in any football activity. Now, it's completely different with the racism that happened and stuff like that. But it shows, just like you said, the power that these student athletes have. Now, do you ever see a time or a case where maybe these players all stand up and say, look, we're just not going to participate because we feel like we should be paid? What if there's a certain event that, like you just said with Dwayne Garrett, that you see a player but he can't eat, he can't do too much? Do you see big school like maybe Missouri or maybe just any school do this, and what effect it would have?
I think I think players are getting smarter and smarter, and the money's just getting bigger and bigger. And I think they're realizing what is really going on with the university. Like I was talking about. I mean, Michigan just gave $100 million. Nike gave $100 million to Michigan to wear their deal. They have in that same conference, there's a multi-billion-dollar 10-year deal. I mean, they see that when that gets released in the newspaper. People say, "Oh my gosh, how much money is our school getting?" And they look down, they look at their jersey, and they look at the stand, and those same kids and fans are wearing those Nike jerseys with their numbers, and the TV stations aren't filming the coaches. They're filming the players. They're not filming the fans. So they're starting to realize that they have the power. So it's only a matter of time before things happen, but it's gone at a slow trickle. We just want to advance the conversation and advance the movement.
Right. And is there any other information you'd like to give to the audience?
No, I just love everyone to go on and support the call, support the movement, not just the movie, but the movement. Help us keep it moving. Retweet our Kickstarter link and our hashtag at Workhorses Movie. And we look forward to seeing you in theaters soon.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. You can find his links down in the description below, no matter where you're listening to. Abram, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you.